the recording first. Okay, so it's Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. I have Karen on the line, and we are doing a bit of a demo on how to open a pull request to the inclusive naming repositories in GitHub. I'm going to share my screen. And more specifically, I'm going to share the entire desktop. But I'm going to close Discord. And I'm also going to close my calendar. So before I go on, do you want to tell me, like, what's your experience with GitHub?
Very little.
Okay, cool. Do you have an account?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you're going to need that.
Through the intro session where you create your hello world and you create a branch and you push it.
Okay.
So I've done like my first go.
Okay. So not like an absolute total newbie, but like pretty new.
Close. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're doing right now is we have a bunch of these draft recommendations, and we need to take these drafts. I'm going to take that one too. I'm going to open a PR later. We need to take these drafts. We need to open some PRs around them. Just as a forewarning for you, Karen, honestly, this is probably going to take us more than 1.5 hour session. It's going to be 2 or 3 in a row. So we're going to get to the end of the half hour. And if you've got to jump, I'm going to say book more time on my calendar and we'll continue because it's a bit complicated. That's the real problem here. Okay. So you understand the basics of a repository is basically just a folder full of like text and code files and other folders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And you understand the idea that like, well, actually, I'll just explain it for the camera. Git is this funny little program that was created by Linus Torvalds actually to distribute Linux source code. So very much a home for the Linux Foundation. And the way it works is it takes, again, a folder of text files and code files and whatever else that exists on your computer. And it mirrors it in the cloud. So GitHub is one famous cloud for open source projects. GitLab is another, Bitbucket is another. So there's other sort of places you can host Git files on. So it mirrors your kind of local folder in the cloud. And what that cloud version does, which is kind of what we're looking at here with inclusive naming /website, is it acts as an authoritative version of the source code. And because we have an authoritative version of that source code, it allows multiple people to work on it at once. And what we do is we make our changes on our computer, and then we push those changes, usually against a branch, to the cloud, and we say, here are my changes, add them to the authoritative version. So that's the long and short of how GitHub works. You said that you'd gone through the hello world, you made a branch, you pushed your branch, right? Okay, so we're going to use a slightly more complicated method, very specifically designed for open source software. And actually, I am going to, per your request, so this is the inclusive naming website. Interesting, these moved to the footer, that's new. If you click this little GitHub link at the bottom, you're going to get to the organization. And you want to go to website, and that's how we get to this repository. And actually, I'm going to get you to share your screen now so I can walk you through it. Presuming you can. Sorry, you want to share your screen? Okay. You are muted, so I cannot hear you.
That would be helpful if I unmuted. There we go. So
okay.
I think it's the right spot.
Okay, so do you want to click on website? Perfect. Okay, so what you're going to do is in the upper right hand corner, you're going to click fork. Yep. So let me explain what we just did. So we have our authoritative copy, which is inclusive naming / website. What you've done is you've made a second copy, which is CATH 1277 / website. We do this when we work on open source projects, specifically to limit who can merge changes into our authoritative copy. When we work in open source, anybody can do anything they want, which is a little scary when you think about like, critical infrastructure changes. So what we do is we make a copy of the authoritative thing. We make our changes against our copy, and then we're going to open a pull request that syncs those up. It's really complicated, but you're going to do okay. Basically, we made an extra copy just in case something goes horribly wrong. And if something does go horribly wrong, you can delete your CATH 1277 copy and nothing happens to the authoritative copy. And stuff goes horribly wrong all the time. I delete my forks, honestly, once or twice a quarter, which is a little embarrassing given that I work with Git all day. It happens. Okay, so here we are. What we're gonna do, do you use the command line with Git? Do you have like a client that you like using?
Nope. I did download the GitHub desktop.
Okay.
So I have that.
Okay, cool. We'll use GitHub desktop. So if you want to go to that code drop down, big green button.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Okay, you're gonna copy that URL, or you can click open with GitHub desktop. Both of those will work.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, so wait a second. Let me just read this to make sure I know what we're doing. Yep, that works perfectly. Hit clone. So what we're doing now is to trace the steps. We had our authoritative copy over at inclusive naming / website. We copied it to CATH 1277, and now we're copying CATH 1277 to your computer. Yep, you are trying to contribute to the parent project. Continue. And what I suspect this is going to do for you, what that little confirmation step was do something extraordinarily helpful that I don't know we need to worry about today. And I've never used the GitHub desktop client, by the way, so I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I just want you to know that. Okay, so now you've got a copy on your hard drive where if you change anything, again, the authoritative copy is going to be okay. Your copy up in the cloud is going to be okay unless you decide to push your changes there. So we can make mistakes now, which is a good thing. So the first thing you want to do is create a branch as usual.
Okay.
Which I think you know how to do, right?
Right. Okay. So what we wanted to call the new branch? Anything?
I'm thinking for you, let's call it update blacklist whitelist, and I'm going to have you upload the update. Okay. Okay. Cool. So now if you look at your UI, you are on the update whitelist blacklist branch. At the moment, that branch is no different than the main branch, so there's no changes. Okay. If you want to hit, sorry. If you want to go to view the files of the repository in Explorer and show in Explorer, click that button.
Where, oh, is it up here?
No, it's right in the middle of your screen.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to open up our files in our Explorer here. Okay, so this is what we just downloaded. This is the repository. It's got a bunch of subfolders. The one that we're most interested in right now is the content subfolder. Okay, so this is kind of the meat of the website, as you might be able to tell by the file names. we are going to look at the word lists folder.
Okay.
Okay. So click on the tier1.md file. Ooh, yeah, okay. This I should have anticipated this. So this is a markdown file, which right now it doesn't seem like you have something that can open markdown. If you want to impress your developer husband, you can download VS Code. Which is a little heavyweight, I'll be perfectly honest, but it's what I tend to use these days. There are lighter weight. I'm trying to think what I want you to download. What's going to be the least complicated? I'm going to get you to download a little file or a little program here. It's called Atom. And Atom is a markdown editor. It's actually built by the people at GitHub. We just need something that's going to read this file.
All right, 22 seconds while it downloads.
And I hope you don't mind. I'm going to munch in the meantime.
Oh, go for it. No worries. Just fix later. All right.
Okay. You can actually click the Open a Project folder button and click Open a Project. Okay. And now navigate to that folder you just downloaded, which I think was in your document. Oh, look at you. Much smarter. Do you want to go to just navigate up to the website folder?
Okay.
Yeah. And so say select folder, click the button down in the right. Yep. So Atom's pretty smart. Atom understands Git. So when you download that folder, there's actually a hidden file in the folder. I think it's called like a git ignore. And basically Git knows to look for that file, and it knows that if a folder has one of those files in it, this is actually a repository. So for a text editor like Atom, which is pretty smart, it knows what GitHub is. It knows to look at those and go like, aha, this is a project. There's some information attached to it. Okay, so you'll notice that in the left-hand side here, it loaded you up a nice little tree view. So let's go to content again. Let's go to word lists again. And let's hit that tier 1.markdown. Yep, there you go. Okay. There you go. Atom by default always opens in this like 2-column situation, but you can actually close out the tabs in that first column and it'll make your life easier.
Okay. Is that like, oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, you can close them. They're just tabs. Or you can leave them. It doesn't matter too much. Okay. So have you ever seen a markdown file before, or is this your first time?
It is my first time, but
Okay.
it doesn't look altogether unfamiliar.
Okay. It's not intimidating. This is the least scary part of what we're doing today. So we already have a recommendation for whitelists and blacklists in there, as you can probably see right at the top. But we have since updated the recommendation and we've updated our formatting. So what you're going to do today is you're going to make this update. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. So I just linked in the chat the newly formatted recommendation. However, you're not going to be able to copy and paste this. Actually, wait a second. I wonder if there's an easy way I can help you with this. I'm sure there's got to be some sort of converter to markdown tomorrow. Yeah, I guess it doesn't. That's bizarre. Okay, so we're gonna have to learn a little bit of markdown formatting here.
Okay.
So if you look at sort of those hashtags beside whitelist, blacklist, that's a header. 2 hashtags is an H2, 3 hashtags is an H3, 4 hashtags is an H4. Okay, so that's thing number 1. The bold is, or the 2 asterisks, that bold something.
Okay.
If you look down, you'll see there's like asterisks beside allow list, deny list, and allowed nouns, denied nouns. Those will give you a bulleted list. Links are a little complicated, but I don't know if we're going to need to, they're the blue ones, the blue and the green ones down below. Okay. So we need to reformat this recommendation based on what we have. And I'm trying to think what the best way to have you do this is. Honestly, I would go right under that whitelist, blacklist heading.
And just add the terms?
Yeah, I would copy and paste from the Google Doc, and then we're going to fix the formatting. That's how I would do it. And then we'll delete what we already have.
Do you want the notes from discussion or no?
Not the notes from discussion, but yeah, everything above that.
All right. And where would you like it pasted? Just right below whitelist,
right below
blacklist?
there. Yep. And again, we're going to have to do some like formatting, but Markdown is relatively friendly. So for the terms, the word terms, let's make that an H3. Okay, and you're going to want to give it a space. Yeah. The other thing with Markdown is like always press enter right after the heading, or else things get a little wonky. There you go.
Okay.
Blacklist and whitelist are each on their own bullet. There you go.
Is that also where you want to do the enter or no?
No. So for a list, you can kind of keep them together. It's the real thing that gets like real wonky is like paragraphs and headings. Yeah, that's a good idea. Concept's going to be an H3. Perfect. You are doing so good. A space under or right before recommendation, because that's our next header. Yep. And then replace immediately is just kind of hanging out on its own. Recommended replacement terms is our next header.
All right. Do you want a header for the preferred placement replacement terms or no?
You know, I'm going to say bold those instead.
That was the double asterisk?
That's a double asterisk. And again, you're going to want an enter after that, or else it gets a wee bit cranky.
Okay. And that one.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry, I'm in a hotel room and somebody just like slid a paper under the door and I was like, what's going on?
That's very spy, James Bond.
Right? It was a little sketchy. Okay. I feel like you're flying through this. You're doing pretty good. So I'm gonna let you just finish formatting. So the one thing I might actually get you to copy and paste from what we already had is the supporting research and precedents, just so you don't have to redo the links.
So use the what's below or what?
Yeah, I would copy that entire like bulleted list section just because it's exactly the same and then you don't have to redo the links.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that would go here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So now You've done fantastic. First off, hit save. Control S. Sorry. Okay.
I was looking for a giant save button so that works.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So now let's delete all of the old stuff. Okay. No, not sorry. Everything. Do you want to scroll back up for a second?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you see where that master slave heading is? Scroll down. It's line
This one?
84. Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay.
Delete everything from above that up to the old definite. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Clean up our white space a little bit here. Perfect. Hit enter again or hit save again. Okay. Congratulations. The bulk of the actual change work is now done. And now we have to go about committing it. So if you want to go back to your Git desktop.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm very, very interested to see where it's recording changes. Weird. Can you, and again, I apologize because I don't actually use, yeah, can you go to the history tab? Okay, now can you go to the changes tab again? Because it looks like, there we go.
Ah, there it goes.
That's our
Okay.
change. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so what you're seeing in the right-hand side is the lines we removed versus what we added. Okay, sweet. And now we get to make a commit. We are going to make a slightly more complicated commit than you may have made in past, though. And I'm going to get you to do something weird for a second. Can you go back into your browser?
Yes.
And can you click Cath 1277? Like, I want to go to your actual profile. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to get you to do something extra weird. I just wanted to see if it was listed publicly. It's not. Upper right-hand corner. Can you go to your profile? We need to find the email address you have associated with Git. That's what we're trying to do here. So I apologize if this seems like extraordinarily intrusive. That's not my intention. I'm happy to pause the recording at this point too, so that your email address isn't like publicly available, because that's also a little weird.
I do have it. I keep it in my KeyPass, so I have it available.
Whoops, sorry guys, we went and retrieved an email address and I forgot to record. Basically, we wrote a commit message and now we are going to do the signed off by line. So in the description, pasted this in the chat, you are going to use signed off by Karenanthesis, and where your email at email.com is, put the email address from your profile.
Okay.
Okay, so this seems really weird, but what it does is it associates the commit with your GitHub profile, which is the point of this whole exercise. Okay.
Okay, so once I do that, then I click commit.
Click commit.
Okay, so that's right.
Yep.
Then I click commit.
Yep. And now you're going to publish your branch. So that center button in the blue.
Exciting.
I know, so fun. Okay, so we're going to go back to the browser now. And we are going to go to the inclusive naming website repository, and I'll just get you a URL to make your life a little easier. So there you go. Okay, so weirdly enough, we've skipped over, you remember how we had our authoritative copy, which is what we're looking at right now. Then we made a copy for you, and then we cloned your copy. What we've done when we published your branch is we put your branch from here to your copy. And now when we visit the authoritative copy, it looks at your fork because Git knows that you have a fork. And it says there's a branch on this fork with changes that don't exist in the master, which is why it gives you that lovely yellow box saying, would you like to pull request this? Which of course you do. So compare and pull request. Luckily, Git is pretty smart about this. Sometimes it's not as smart. So just like forewarning. this is perfect. This is all you got to do. Create pull requests.
All right, so create.
Hooray! I thought this was going to take a lot longer than it did, but luckily it did not. So that's really the process. There is a slightly more complicated part 2, which once this gets merged, we might actually want to have another session, because that will be helpful to you, which is, okay, you have your fun little copy over here, but you actually have to keep it in sync with the master copy or with the authoritative copy. And how do you do that? But for now, don't worry about it. For now, you opened a pull request, and that's awesome. And that's the long and short of it. People are going to leave you a bunch of comments. We're going to have to deal with them, but it'll be okay.
Okay, so is it automatically posted to Slack and that's how they know to comment, or?
No,
Okay.
you're going to have to post it yourself, and I highly recommend you do so. And I would also love if you could post it to the mailing list as well.
You will have to walk me through both those things.
Okay, so post it to Slack. I mean, Slack's just a Slack message, so you'll be fine.
Perfect. So what do I like? Do I copy the URL, or what do I
Copy the URL and say, hello, everybody. We've got a recommendation up for review.
And do you want me to do that in workstream language?
You can do it in workstream language. You can also do it in general. Both would be okay.
And what is the due date on that? Oops.
You will probably want to give people at least 2 weeks. I'm going to say Friday the 15th.
All right, it is posted here, and then I will post it. You said in the general?
Yeah, in general. And I will happily walk you through posting on the mailing list, which I think you've joined, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll find out pretty soon either way. Don't worry about it. Okay. So if you visit that URL, what happens? Congratulations on your first pull request, by the way.
Thank you. That's excellent.
Yeah. It's super, again, it seems like this really silly thing, but it is super important when you do work out in the open like this, because this is how people keep track of who's contributing to what. It also gets a lot less intimidating over time. It's a lot of like weird arcane steps right now, but it does get easier. Okay, cool. So you are a member of the mailing list. So if you want to click new conversation, that nice little button in the upper left. Okay. And give it a subject line of for review. Something along those lines. And then say, hello, everybody. And actually, I can probably throw you literally what I wrote the last time I sent one of these out was something along those lines. So like that's all you really have to say to people, just like the language workstream has produced this wonderful recommendation and now a PR is out and please review the PR. Obviously don't send it from me, send it from yourself. But...
We're creating the template. It's all good. Okay. All right, so we're good. Does that look good?
That is fantastic. Send her off.
Posting.
Okay. Awesome. You did a great job today.
Perfect.
I'm sorry if
So,
this is patronizing. I am like very thankful, but also like, but you know, get to like a super complicated thing. And now it's this like real standard in the world of software, but like nobody teaches you how to use it. And it's like very intimidating. So
yes,
it is
yes.
genuinely a good job.
And I recommend the YouTube videos. They're helpful.
Mhm.
For this, you'll share the recording with me because what I'll do is I'll type up with possibly screenshots all of the steps
Cool.
as a reference.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
it'll be different for some people. Like I had you do an update of something that already existed, which is like if you were adding something new, it would be slightly different. But yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording and then I'm gonna upload it to the YouTube channel and it'll just be on YouTube.
okay, perfect.
Okay, cool.
So I guess on October 15th, then we might want to get together for phase 2 of the
Yep.
process. Okay.
I think that's a good idea. Honestly, maybe on the 18th, and I only say the 18th because I'm at KubeCon until the 15th, so I'm just not going to exist until after that point.
Oh,
But
it's no worries. There's no chance because I'm on annual leave.
oh yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, okay.